Wear it with a badge of honor. You are Singapore's task force man.
I'm task force man. I have many tasks, but none more important than the task of looking after you.
In the general election this year, a newly formed constituency became the unexpected battleground, and the spotlight was on a man who was the subject of one of the smartest branding moves of the entire election, Gan Kim Yong.
I am Gan Kim Yong.
A little bit of context first. In the lead up to the election, all eyes were on Harpreet Singh, the star catch of the WP this election. The PAP was keeping a close eye on where Singh would be fielded. And on nomination day, it became clear that he would be leading a 4-person team in the newly formed Punggol GRC. And in a move that mirrored DPM Heng Swee Keat moving to East Coast GRC in 2020 to defend against a strong WP opponent, the PAP moved the DPM Gan Kim Yong to Punggol GRC from his previous ward in Choa Chu Kang GRC to defend against Harpreet Singh and his team. But over the course of the campaign period, the Workers' Party slate in Punggol wasn't just putting up a good fight, they were gaining serious ground. Charismatic, united, and social media savvy, they were drawing crowds, headlines, and concern for the PAP. Suddenly, the possibility that PM Wong could lose his right-hand man, his bestie, became very real. And the PAP's biggest challenge was in building hype and rallying support for Gan Kim Yong. But how do you begin generating buzz around a steady, no-frills politician who's known more for getting the job done than for commanding an audience? Gan Kim Yong wasn't just any cabinet minister. He was one of the PAP government's most trusted crisis managers. He chaired the multi-ministry task force during the COVID-19 pandemic and helped steer Singapore through its biggest public health challenge in decades. But despite his track record, he wasn't quite connecting, at least not in the way the Workers' Party was, not on the ground and not online. Hi, I'm Joel, the host of Political Prude, the podcast. I've spent my entire career in the media space and graduated from university with a specialization in visual communications and communication studies. As a branding guy, I have to say, this whole task force man branding spin deserves to be studied. And that's what we're doing in today's video essay. I'll be exploring 6 reasons why this simple, almost off-the-cuff nickname turned into one of the most effective pieces of political branding that we've seen in recent Singapore elections. Reason number 1. Calling Gan Kim Yong Task Force Man wasn't just a fun nickname. It was a calculated branding move that signals a depth of experience through cumulative credibility. And with a simple nickname, it distilled years of public service into something instantly recognizable. It reminded Singaporeans, without needing to say it outright, that this was the man who co-led Singapore through various crises, like the COVID-19 pandemic and Singapore's economic response in 2025 against Trump. He also supported labour market stability during the downturn in the global financial crisis of 2008. He had been repeatedly trusted with the toughest of jobs, and when things got serious, he was the one that the government turned to. This was a veteran with a track record, and by calling him Task Force Man, the PAP was activating brand equity built over years. In the world of branding, brand equity refers to the value a brand has because of how people feel about and trust it. It became a shorthand for competence, stability, and strategic depth. And in an election where experience was at risk of being overshadowed by charisma, this was a reminder that mattered. This was proof of performance cleverly packaged as brand shorthand. Reason number 2. It wasn't just about highlighting experience. Task Force Man also did give something else. It gave Gan Kim Yong a personality hook. Now let's be honest, Mr. Gan isn't exactly the most electrifying speaker. He's calm, methodical, and also more of a technocrat than a showman. But in an election where charisma plays big, especially on social media, that can be quite a tough sell. The nickname acted like a brand amplifier. It gave emotional weight to an otherwise understated figure, and it turned quiet consistency into kind of a superpower. Think of it like performance-led branding, like Lionel Messi or Jon Snow. Not the loudest one in the room, but the one who always delivers when it counts. And that's the narrative that Task Force Man helps to build. Not flash, but formidability. Not style, but substance. Reason number 3. The nickname Task Force Man was social media gold. The phrase is short, catchy, and instantly memeable. It sounds like a superhero, feels like a meme, and works across TikTok captions, rally signs, and even meme accounts. The phrase lends itself to remix culture, parody, and even fandom, allowing for earned media amplification through organic user-generated content. UGC refers to content like photos or reviews made by real customers and consumers, not the brand themselves. In the world of marketing, earned media amplification refers to when people talk about or share a brand for free, spreading the word for them. It's a strategic asset in a platform-driven attention economy, and one can say that the name itself was inherently built for virality. You could remix it, joke about it, or rally behind it, and the people really did. In this kind of attention economies, that kind of organic spread is invaluable. Task Force Man became more than just a nickname. It became a narrative, one that users could play with, amplify, and make their own. And that's how you turn a campaign line into a cultural moment. Reason number 4. This branding leverages the hero archetype. In brand storytelling, this taps into deep consumer psychology. People want to trust those who have triumphed over chaos, and Task Force Man is a narrative device that cements emotional brand trust. Emotional brand trust really refers to when people feel a strong personal trust in a brand. He's the steady hand during chaos, the mission-first leader who shows up when it matters the most. And in the world of branding, this is powerful psychology. We're wired to trust those who have faced crises and have come through the other side. The nickname doesn't just describe what Gan Kim Yong did, it elevates him by framing him as someone who rises in times of uncertainty. Task Force Man thus became a symbol, one of resilience and leadership that voters can believe in and, more importantly, feel something about. Reason number 5. The nickname is a brand differentiator amidst political clutter. In an election filled with similar slogans and generic promises, I'll serve the people, I'll listen to the ground, I'll be your voice, Task Force Man cuts through all the noise. It gives Gan Kim Yong something that most politicians don't have, a specialization. Now, instead of being positioned as a generalist, he's framed as the crisis guy, the one you turn to not for just day-to-day governance, but when everything goes sideways.
He is someone who inspires trust because of his ability and his competence to get things done.
Now that's a classic brand move. Carve out a niche and own it. In marketing, this is called category leadership. You don't try to compete in a crowded lane. You create your own. And that's exactly what Task Force Man does.
Wear it with a badge of honor. You are Singapore's Task Force Man.
It says, while others were debating, I was already in the trenches. Now that's a powerful differentiator, especially when voters are overwhelmed by campaign clutter and looking for someone that stands out. And in a post-COVID world where the crisis preparedness still lingers in collective memory, that framing lands with real weight. It's not just branding, it's positioning. Reason number 6. The branding reinforces the Masterbrand's core values. Task Force Man doesn't just elevate Gan Kim Yong, it reinforces the brand story of the PAP itself. For decades, the PAP's Masterbrand has been built around 3 key pillars: stability, competence, and results-driven leadership. It's the idea that when things get rough, they don't panic. They execute. And by branding Gan Kim Yong as Task Force Man, the party wasn't just promoting a candidate, it was also reinforcing its own identity. He became a living embodiment of the PAP's most prized brand attributes: calm under pressure, experience in crises, and above all, deliverables over drama.
Trust Gan Kim Yong because of what he represents. The full faith and credit of the Singapore government, this system that we have built together for the last 60 years.
And this is what brand strategy is called the brand architecture alignment. In marketing, brand architecture alignment refers to how a company's brands and products are clearly organized and linked together. The sub-brand, in this case Gan Kim Yong, reinforces the credibility of the master brand and vice versa. His narrative doesn't just fit into the parties, it strengthens it. And for voters who may be uncertain or on the fence, that consistency across candidate and party can make the difference between doubt and reassurance, between switching and staying. So yes, Task Force Man may have sounded like a meme, but underneath it was reinforcing the PAP's oldest promise. When the nation needs steady hands, they know who has them. At first glance, Task Force Man might have just seemed like another rally punchline, a meme, a moment. But as we've seen, it's so much more than that. It was a masterclass in political branding executed in real time, under pressure, and with high stakes. In a few simple words, the PAP managed to reframe a quiet, unflashy politician into a crisis-tested figure of assurance. They created a campaign symbol that could cut through digital noise, align seamlessly with party values, and emotionally resonate with an electorate that was tired, anxious, and looking for anyone to trust. And what we saw with Task Force Men was the strategic deployment of an archetypal branding, social media savviness, and a clear differentiation strategy, all while reinforcing the core tenets of the PAP. It served as a powerful reminder that effective branding isn't just about creating something from nothing, but about expertly amplifying existing strengths and connecting them to the anxieties and aspirations of the public. And maybe that's the lesson here. Good branding doesn't shout, it lands. It finds truth, distills it, and delivers it in a way that sticks. If there's one thing that this campaign proved, it's that in politics, just like in marketing, the right story told the right way can change everything. If you found this breakdown insightful, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, and share it with someone who appreciates smart political strategy. We've got more deep dives coming your way, like why having Eileen Chong take up the NCMP role was strategically the smartest move that benefits the WP. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next episode.